Good morning, everybody. John with you, and it's that time of the year again where we have the very massive and huge and week-long Friends of the Library Hawaii book sale, which takes up an entire high school cafeteria building and another tent outside. It's just huge, just tens of thousands of books. You can't imagine. Yesterday was the only day, it just started yesterday, and it was the only day that it's open until 9 p.m. late in the evening. Usually it closes. And I was thinking I wasn't going to get a chance to go because I'm getting ready to go on a short trip to judge a pageant in Florida. Yay. And I didn't think I'd be able to go. But yesterday after work, I just decided, I just can't not go. I don't need any more books, for sure. I have so many overflowing, and it's going to take me several years to read all the books that I have. But I don't know. You know how it is? It's like you just can't, like a record sale and a book sale, I just can't pass it up. So I did about $50, about $50 worth of damage, and let's take a look at what I got this year. So the first section that you have to hit up is the Hawaiiana and Pacific book section. That gets, has the most traffic here, obviously. And I just got several things there. Mangareva, The Forgotten Islands. This is a paperback by Robert Lee Eskridge. Original copyright on this is 1930-something? 1931? 1931. And this is just the writings of Mr. Eskridge, who is an artist, American artist, and the time that he spent in French Polynesia. Some interesting illustrations that he did too. So anyway, yeah, I like these kind of books. I love, by the way, if I haven't mentioned, I really love like diaries, and I like diaries and biographies and accounts of letters and things like that. So you'll find I often get books like that. Then I got Forever, the Land of Men, an account of a visit to the Marquesas Islands, Willowdene Sea Handy. This one, 1965. So this is the account of the wife of a gentleman who was an ethnologist working under the Bishop Museum of Hawaii, who spent time in the Marquesa Islands in the South Pacific. And then this is just her account, her writing about that time period and what she experienced. So that will be interesting. Guess who that is? Captain Cook. The Golden Haze. By the way, I should tell you this was only $1. How much I'm paying for these books too. The Golden Haze with Captain Cook in the South Pacific. Roderick Cameron. 1964. And this is an account of some of the writings of people who were aboard Captain Cook's voyages into the South Pacific, and it's also heavily lots and lots of photographs. Again, this kind of writing I like. It's just interesting to hear the accounts of people who were at certain places and what their interpretations and what their thoughts about what they were experiencing. I like that. Here's a book called White Savages of the South Sea, in the South Seas, Mel Kernahan. I love this picture of, it's a Paul Gauguin painting that they've obviously it says White Savages in the South Seas is a book about Polynesia. After the cruise ship has sailed, the jet has flown off into the sunset, and the Mai Tai curtain has dropped on a dream that was more performance than reality. And it's writing about an assortment of characters. $2 this book was. An assortment of characters living in the South Seas in Tahiti, and this writer's experience with them, all expat Americans or expat French people, whatever, living in the South Seas. 1995 is the date on that one. Then we have, finally, Strangers in the South Seas, The Idea of the Pacific and Western Thought, Richard Lansdowne, an anthology. $1 this book was. This is the year 2006. It's a more recent book. But again, it's just putting together some writings of, some historical writings of Western, thinking about the South Seas, the island as El Dorado and the South Sea bubble. How many atoms must we admit? Varieties of man, the island as colony, dark parts of the earth. I like this kind of stuff. And then I did get a couple of pamphlets. I look at like the pamphlets. I look for illustrations and pictures because I can put them up on some of them. 1977. This one is Molokai, the Friendly Island. Because I use them for. I have a Pinterest board called Polynesian Carols, and I use a lot of the different artwork that I collect here and there for my Hawaiian music channel on YouTube, Hawaiian Leisure Hour, and use pictures to go with the music videos. This one's great. 10 cents this one was. The Tropical Pareao, very 1980s, all of this work in here. For some strange reason, withdrawn from the Pearl City Public Library. I can't imagine why. Why would they take away this fine piece of literature? Some great pictures in here. Yeah, 10 cents, that one. Okay, now I'll show you from the other parts of the sale, the things that I got. So I also really enjoy travel writing, but I really practiced restraint and just didn't get too much because I have a lot already that I haven't read. But this book, I just could not pass up. Urbane Travelers, 1591, 1635. So this book, which was only $1, is a collection of writings of travelers, kind of like travel writing, but very early travel writing. The 15 and 1600s, people that were doing some traveling. So this is their writing about some of their experiences. Travel by coach, travel by sedan car. I think this will be fascinating reading. Travel by galley. Urbane Travelers. I'm interested in sociology and whatnot too. Here's a book, Tinsel, A Search for America's Christmas Past, and this is just a book about $2. This one was a book about Hank Stuever, 2009. But this is a book about Christmas, people that are into Christmas for different reasons, and different people's experiences, and trying to find what it kind of means for them, or their history of Christmas and whatnot. So interesting. Also, of course, I love music, as you know. Merry Christmas Baby, holiday music from Bing to Sting, $1.50. And this is just sort of an illustrated, light history about Christmas albums, Christmas LPs, and singles, and hits and not hits, and etc., etc. So again, this one heavily illustrated. I thought something funny I noticed when I was just glancing through it yesterday. They have here 20 artists we're glad never recorded a Christmas song. I haven't looked to see what the date was on this one, but they're happy George Michael never did, although Last Christmas was George Michael, right? So he must be, and Michael Bolton yet, they said. And yes, he has done Christmas music. So. Oh well. Then I got a few books of kind of more of a religious nature, or spirituality, or whatever. This one is called Lost Christianities, The Battle for Scripture and the Face We Never Knew by Bart Ehrman. $2 this one was. But this is a book about, what's the year on this? I don't know. Anyway, 2003. This is a book about the different, there were books that did not make it into the Bible when they had the Nicene, I'll say the convention, but that's not the right word, whatever, when the people in Nicaea decided what was going to be orthodoxy, what was going to be in the actual Bible, and what was not. Because there were a lot of books that were left out and writings, and there were some different sects of Christianity that had very different ideas and different approaches before everything was established. So it's kind of a book about that. I am interested in some of those books and scriptures and things, and it's just, a book about that. Here's one called The Spiritualists by Ruth Brandon. Another topic I'm very interested in. The $3 this book is in the Victorian era, and later. There was, real interest in spiritualism. There were spiritualist churches organized, and people were going to seances all the time and trying to speak with the departed, and Madame Blavatsky and Theosophy and all these things were going on, and this is just a book about that period in time. Very interesting, both ideas of what people thought was real, and then all these sort of shysters and who were creating ectoplasm and doing all these things and how they did it. So it's an interesting topic also. This book, really interesting. It'd be very interesting to read this one. I knew nothing about this. American Priestess, The Extraordinary Story of Anna Stafford and the American Colony in Jerusalem, Jane Fletcher Genesee. This book was $3.50. I think that's the most I paid for any book. But apparently after the Civil War, I know nothing about this. Apparently after the Civil War, there was an American colony in Jerusalem, and this woman, Anna Spafford, this woman priest, whatever, that ran it, it was apparently very influential, according to the notes here, and actually ended up playing a part in the how the contemporary Middle East is laid out. And she was, I guess, supporting Zionism and had a lot to actually end up having to do, sort of in an underhanded way or whatever, with the Middle East as we know it today. So I would say thanks to her, but I don't know that that's the appropriate word. But anyway, I didn't know anything about this, so I'll be interested to read the story. And now let's look finally at the CDs I got. Not too many. They have a lot of CDs, not records, but CDs at this sale, and sometimes I go crazy getting a lot of jazz because I play a lot of jazz at work, at the coffee shop, and but I just, again, practice kind of restraint, and I only picked up a couple of things, one of which was this $5 double disc of Sarah Vaughan singing the Duke Ellington songbook, and this is 2 CDs here of Sarah Vaughan singing Duke Ellington songs, so that should be good. And then I got this one, which was also, it's 2 albums on one disc, Della Reese with The Story of the Blues and Melancholy Baby. I like Della Reese as a singer also. And then finally, I don't know exactly how this happened, but I collect Hawaiian music, but not Hawaiian CDs so much, because it's more recent. I'm more into the older stuff, or I collect the older stuff, although I do have some CDs. But lately, I don't know what caused it, but I just had this real interest in getting as many Hawaiian Christmas CDs as I could, because some of it is really nice, and some of it is just kind of really cheesy and commercial, and I kind of enjoy things that sometimes aren't that great. I mean, for that reason, that they're kind of cheesy and whatever. And I just have been deciding I was going to collect Hawaiian CDs of Christmas music, everyone's that whenever I could find them cheaply, and they happen to have quite a few there. Hawaiian Style Christmas #2. This is just a variety of different artists that that didn't have enough material to do a Christmas CD of their own, but they're on other people's. Ululoa presents Hallelujah, Songs of Christmas from Hawaii. This one has some good artists on it. I'm kind of curious to hear this Cody Pueo Pata one. I really like him, but I don't think I've ever heard this Christmas song. This one's Assorted Artists, also Christmas by the Sea. And then one from Candice Mahide Gentry, who is a former Miss Hawaii, but I have not heard this Christmas CD. Gail Mack, another local artist, Christmas Once More in Hawaii. I'd be interested to hear this one because this is almost all original compositions. They're not A Christmas Lay of Wildflowers, Our Island Christmas, Korean Christmas, Christmas Day in the Sun. I don't know any of these songs. And then finally, this one might actually be good. I don't know. Michael Paulo, who's a jazz saxophonist here from Hawaii. And I love jazz Christmas music at work, especially Sax for Christmas. His saxophone jazz Christmas album. Okay, so that is the totality of my purchases at the bookstore. When I paid, it was $46.75, and she was having some problems with this tabulation adding machine while I was there, so I wasn't sure if that was exactly right, because I didn't really tabulate it myself. But when I got home and added everything up, it actually came to $50.10. So I got a deal on a deal. But it all goes to help the library, and I was pretty happy with my purchases. So that's what I got this year at the Friends of the Library Hawaii book sale. We'll see you next time.